take your seats, please. Good morning and welcome to this press conference. Sitting at the center is, of course, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, and Dr. Rajendra Pachauri, the Chairman of the IPCC. Next to Dr. Pachauri is Michel Jarraud, the Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, and next to the Secretary General is Mr. Achim Steiner, the Executive Director of the UN Environmental Program. The Secretary General will have a few opening remarks, and then Dr. Pachauri will present the IPCC synthesis report, and then we will open the floor to your questions, and we will also take a few questions that are being emailed by other journalists. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, good morning. You have just heard in the plenary meeting my address to the delegates, so I'll be very brief. The chair of the IPCC, Dr. Pachauri, is about to present the panel's synthesis report, and the message it contains could not be simpler. The threat of climate change is real, and there are concrete and affordable ways to deal with it. The report gives all of us, policymakers, civil society, the media, and general public, the most comprehensive scientific information on climate change in a succinct and user-friendly manner. With the IPCC's latest work, the stage is now set for the United Nations Climate Change Conference, which gets underway in 2 weeks in Bali, Indonesia. This conference is so very critical. It is in Bali that governments will have to provide political solutions to what we are now well-established scientific facts. The breakthrough needed in Bali is an agreement to launch negotiations for a comprehensive climate change deal that all nations can embrace, developed and developing alike. Scientists have now done their work, and I call on political leaders to do theirs and agree not only to launch negotiations, but also to conclude them by 2009. Having just witnessed with my own eyes a few days ago in Antarctica and in the Amazon rainforest, the effects of a changing climate, I can tell you with assurance that global, sweeping, concerted action is needed now. There is no time to waste. Before turning the floor over to Dr. Pachauri, I want to pay tribute to him and to the thousands of scientists and staff who have worked so tirelessly over the years to help all of us understand and grasp the severity of the climate change phenomena. The IPCC's diligent work is a key building block in our efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change. The awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize to the IPCC is a testament to this. Also with me here are Mr. Michel Jarraud, the Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, and Mr. Achim Steiner, the Executive Director of the UN Environment Program. These two organizations and their leaders have played an important role in creating the IPCC and in supporting and disseminating their work. Before taking your questions, you will need to thank the Spanish government. We all need to thank the Spanish government and the autonomous government of Valencia for their warm hospitality. This stunning museum of science is a fitting place to have held these crucial discussions. Thank you very much, and now I will turn the proceedings over to Dr. Pachauri. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. It's a privilege for me to be sitting by your side and presenting some of the major findings of the synthesis report, which is part of the fourth assessment report of the IPCC. I'm going to present some of the findings, but at the end, I'm also going to raise some crucial questions, which incidentally I, as an individual, have formulated, and which I hope the delegates that would take part in the Conference of the Parties in Bali will consider and ponder over at some length. I'm going to make a PowerPoint presentation. Let me first pay a tribute to His Excellency the Secretary General. We have never had a leader of this all-important organization at the global level who has shown a commitment, an understanding of, and dedication to the cause of actions that are required to meet the threat of climate change. And I just project for you some few statements of his where he has clearly demonstrated his understanding of this issue and his commitment to solve the problems associated with it. The fourth assessment report, of which the synthesis report is the final part, is an enormous effort, as the Secretary General has just informed you. It took about 450 lead authors from over 130 countries, and including, of course, the 2,500 scientific expert reviewers and 800 contributing authors. So really speaking, this was a mammoth exercise, as is the tradition of the IPCC, and what gives it a unique flavor is the fact that our findings and our work have to be accepted and approved by governments who are the members of the IPCC. And therefore, I call this an absolutely unique output and a unique undertaking, that you have the best available science and expertise drawn from all over the world being put to use in coming up with scientific assessment of climate change, and governments and policy makers actually accepting and approving of it. This is a familiar diagram which I'm sure all of you have seen on several occasions. It shows in three very distinct parts the interconnected relationship between global average temperature, the way it's increased since the beginning of industrialization, 1850 onwards or thereabouts, global average sea level rise, and then, of course, the decline in northern hemisphere snow cover, to which the Secretary General has just